Number 10.
Bubble Bobble Part 2, released by Taito in 1993. You play as Bub, and your girl Judy's been taken away by one of the evil Skull Brothers, who also turns Bub into a bubble dragon. It's really just more Bubble Bobble, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Due to its late release in the NES's catalog, Bubble Bobble Part 2 will currently set you back about $280 for a loose cartridge, or $640 complete in box.
Number 9.
Dragon Fighter, released in 1992 by Sofel. You control a magical human fighter, I guess a dragon fighter, who must journey to Mount Gia to stop the evil king Zabaong. You also get to turn into a really cool dragon once your metamorphosis gauge fills up from defeating enough enemies. Released only a few months after the North American Super Nintendo launch, Dragon Fighter didn't sell too well, which limited its production run. A copy of Dragon Fighter is currently $295 for a loose cartridge, or about $549 complete in box.
Number 8.
Gotcha the Sport, released by LJN in 1987. Based on the 1985 film by the same name, this NES shooter used the infamous Zapper light gun. However, Gotcha is only really valuable in its 5-screw cartridge form. Although the reasons aren't 100% confirmed, it's believed that Nintendo switched from 5 to 3 screws on its cartridges to save on manufacturing costs. Save every penny. Due to this, many 5-screw versions of the NES games are much more valuable. Gotcha will currently set you back $2 loose or $13 complete in box. And the 5-screw version will run you $377 loose and $978 complete in box. Whoa.
Number 7.
Power Blade 2, released by Taito in 1992. The game takes place in the year 2200 and you play as Nova. Your mission from the Department of Defense is to destroy the Delta Foundation, who have created a cyborg that can threaten global security. Power Blade 2 feels a lot like Contra-style graphics mixed with Mega Man's gameplay. And to be honest, it's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, like Dragon Fighter, Power Blade 2 was released just a few months after the Super Nintendo launched, so it just never sold well. But that's not for a lack of trying. It was even featured in the October 1992 issue of Nintendo Power. According to price charting, Power Blade 2 will run you about $370 loose and $990 complete in box.
Number 6.
Bonk's Adventure, released on the NES by Hudson Soft in 1993. You set out as Bonk, a young cave boy who must bonk his head through prehistoric lands to save Princess Za, who's been kidnapped by the evil King Drool. Bonk's Adventure is a classic platformer, originally released for the TurboGrafx-16 in 1990. Bonk was even considered the system's mascot, but unfortunately the TurboGrafx just didn't sell well in North America, and Hudson Soft ported the game over to the NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo. Suffering the same late NES release syndrome, Bonk's Adventure will cost you around $450 loose and $1,260 complete in box.
Number 5.
Panic Restaurant, released by Taito in 1992. You play as Chef Cookie, who's unfortunately been cursed by his rival Chef Hors d'oeuvre. Cookie battles his way through vicious evil food monsters using kitchen utensils as weapons until he can finally seek his revenge on his rival chef. And Panic Restaurant is actually a really good platformer. The controls feel great and its quirky style is fun and oddly addictive. However, the game was released a year after the Super Nintendo launched, so it never sold well. Now a copy of Panic Restaurant goes for $475 loose or $1,085 complete in box.
Number 4.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, released by Nintendo in 1987. You play as Little Mac, who battles his way through several boxing circuits until finally reaching Mike Tyson. Much like Gotcha, finding a copy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out really isn't that difficult. What's rare is finding a 5-screw cartridge version of the game. But you never know. Maybe you've got one and you never knew it. A 5-screw cartridge version of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out typically runs $600 loose or about $1,815 complete in box.
Number 3.
The Flintstones, Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, released by Taito in 1994. You play as both Fred and Barney, who each have their own unique attacks and abilities. With Pebbles and Bam Bam both missing, you'll traverse through several levels on your quest to rescue the prehistoric kids. So what makes this game so valuable? Well, it's rumored that the game was exclusively released in North America to Blockbuster Video as a rental title. However, there's also no evidence that confirms this. Either way, Surprise at Dinosaur Peak is one of the rarest games released for the NES. Currently, it's valued at $795 loose and $2,070 complete in box.
Number 2.
Little Samson, released by Taito in 1992. A dark prince is trying to take over the world, and the king has summoned 4 heroes to save the kingdom. Little Samson plays a lot like the Mega Man series, with tight controls, excellent visuals, and really great level design. You control 4 characters throughout the game. What makes the game unique is that you can change your character at any time, and each character has their own unique abilities and weaknesses. Unfortunately, like all the other Taito games on the list, Little Samson was released late into the NES's life cycle and didn't have great sales, which resulted in a very small print run. Personally, this is one of my favorite games on the list, although I'll let you decide if it's worth its current market value. Little Samson currently runs for $1,076 loose and $2,726 complete in box.
Number 1.
Family Fun Fitness Stadium Events, released by Bandai in 1987. Stadium Events uses an exercise mat as a controller and allows the player to compete in 4 different sporting events: the 100-meter dash, 110-meter hurdles, long jump, and the triple jump. However, Nintendo ended up purchasing the technology and rebranded the exercise mat as the Power Pad, and Stadium Events was changed to World Class Track Meet. Due to this, it's assumed that Stadium Events received a very low print run, and copies are extremely hard to find. Stadium Events will set you back about $10,100 for a loose copy and around $21,160 complete in box.